Hello YouTube. So once again, I'm back on here, doing my thing. But listen, this is the fourth video now, and I'm trying to keep track. But I promise you, the sort of videos I'm going to be doing for the channel, which is talk about my recovery. Now, why I say it's different is because I've not seen anything out there, or I might have missed something, but I haven't seen anyone have a tendon taken from their hamstring and put it into their arm. There's three tendons in the hamstring, right? And they've taken a whole tendon graft and they've put it into my left bicep that was fully torn from the tendon. So the tendon actually disintegrated. It had a gap of about 11 inches, which come up on the X-ray and the ultrasound. So what I'm going to talk about, this is going to be just an introduction video of what the fuck happened from the start of it right through. I'm going to sort of do maybe sort of a week, 2 week videos, and I'm going to go all out to the full recovery, which is expected to be about 6 months. This might be less or more depending on how I look after myself, but my aim is to get back into boxing and sort of focus on just being in my prime again. I'm only 25. Just turned 25 a few days ago, so I'm not looking to be a cripple in a wheelchair just yet. I'm still fighting strong. When I'm in that corner, I'm going to find a way out. So, how it happened, so I'll tell you how it happened. If you guys are interested in watching the video of me fighting, I can upload that for your entertainment purposes. No problem whatsoever. So it's a white collar charity boxing match, right? So I get in there, right? I get told that my opponent was changed last minute. No one wants to fight me for whatever reason. I mean, I've only had a couple of fights. I mean, why doesn't anyone want to fight me? Do you know what I mean? There's a lot better people that I was participating with that were much better boxers than me. So I didn't really understand why. There's a lot of people dropping out. Anyways, got there and they gave me this Irish geezer. I won't say his name for I don't want to embarrass him or if he somehow finds me on it, but you could probably find me on Facebook and see it from there. But fought this geezer, got to the ring. I wasn't in best shape, but I felt good, felt strong. Had my cornerman with me from the fight. He come out all smug. He thinks he was the dog's bollocks. Thought he was the bee's knees. Come out with this aggressive sort of like Mike Tyson style. Thinks he's gonna fuck me up. Goes into his corner. Tries eyeing me up. After the referee's given his little introductory speech. We touch gloves, go to our corners, and to be honest with you, I was actually expecting the geezer to come out all guns blazing, but there's a lot of people that told me he would come out all guns blazing, very aggressive, and I saw it in his eyes. He had this sort of look in his eyes, when someone wants to kill you, sort of that predator man instinct. Yeah, he completely surprised me. He just didn't do anything. He was right there for the taking. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to knock this sucker out, to be honest. And that's what I did. I didn't knock him out because obviously got headgear on and 16-ounce gloves. It's very hard to knock someone out. But he's on the floor within 10 seconds of the fight. I think I threw like a left hook. Sort of did some dancing shit with my with my feet on the floor, trying to distract him, onto my feet. Essentially, that's what I was doing. Sort of did a double jab, so a fake to the body, jab to the head, and then just did an overhand right, sort of behind the ear. Went down, got back up, and I was trying to sort of get back in there, but the referee's having a go at me. He's like, no more bullshit. If he's on the floor, leave him. So I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna play it cool. It's for charity. I'm fighting for cancer, something that that resonates with me personally. So I've got a family history of cancer, which is why I'm doing it. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna play my cool. I'm gonna see this out. I've only got 3 rounds, so I thought, I'm just gonna see how it goes. There's no need for me to overreach myself within a fight that I'm capable of winning. Entertainment, right? sitting along, just jabbing, you know, hook here and there to the body, you know, stuff like that. You know, and I think it was still the first round that this happened. Yeah. No, he just kept going backwards and backwards. He wouldn't come to me, so obviously I had to come towards him. So I was cutting the ring off. I got him in a corner, and what I did, I just, you know, it doesn't look pretty on video whatsoever. I was just going, you know, all sorts of punches, and then he decided to sort of grab my arm and yank it. You know, the referee comes in, he just yanks my arm. I didn't feel nothing, but I've watched the video that I got from the charity boxing match so many times. I think that's what done it. Obviously, the cause of what the cause of many distal bicep tears are is sort of the overextension of the arm in a sort of very erratic fashion. So if you can see, I don't know if you can see from here. So once I do that, you know, the tendon's very susceptible. Besides doing this, obviously no one fights like this. There's a lot of ballistic movements involved within sort of boxing, sort of explosive movements. So when that happened, that sort of yanking of the arm, I didn't feel it with the adrenaline. After the fight finished, in a nutshell, went out with my with my mate Adam, who come, had a drink with my family, just had a good time. You know what I mean? This is last year, last October. I thought, you know, I've done it. You know, it's all over now. Got up the next morning and I thought, what the fuck has happened to my arm? Kid you not, my whole arm was purple from my shoulder joint all the way to my forearm. I thought, what the fuck's gone on here? I couldn't even see what happened to my bicep. So yeah, so I thought, you know, I'll try and get to A&E, you know, locally. They wouldn't even bother seeing me. Oh yeah, they had too many people to see that day. You know, I was waiting hours and hours. They'd be like, you might have to wait for a few hours. I thought, fuck it, I'm gonna go back home and just do some rice. So rice, in a nutshell, for people that don't know, is rest, ice, compression, elevation. So, you know, with sort of a lot of injuries, you know, the common denominator is to rest, to ice the affected area, to sort of constrict the blood vessels, to compress it, obviously to, you know, increase the sort of vasodilation of the muscle, and then obviously elevation to again accentuate the sort of the blood flow to that muscle. You know, when you get injured, they always tell you to rest your body limbs above your heart if you can. That's one of the reasons why. So I did all that, rest, ice, compression, elevation. Did that for about a few days. Nothing was working. I thought, you know, this ain't good. I felt like there's a lot of trouble here, and then my arm started going from purple to like a pigment sort of yellow. I thought a pigment yellow is usually a good sign of it healing. So I thought, oh, I'll leave it and see what happens. It went away 9 days later. It went away. The whole purple, yellow, all the colour pigmentation went away. And excuse me. And I saw my arm. Kid you not, right? That's my arm here. That's my normal bicep. That's my normal bicep. Yeah, I know you can't see it that well, but you know there was a massive gap here. It's sort of bald. You know, if you've seen the shit, have you seen that cartoon Popeye? It was just like that. It was all balled up. I thought, oh my god, I can't believe what's happening. I thought, it can't be anything serious. It looks bad, but because I'm so stubborn, I thought, you know, it's nothing serious. So I started going. I still went to the gym, doing a lot of, you know, normal stuff, still being conscious all the times, and not. I wasn't trying to contract the muscle, so to speak. I was just sort of trying to use my mind-muscle connection too. So if I was doing back, I would just consciously just close my eyes and just sort of contract my back rather than just yanking it with my arm and causing more damage. So I was doing that, and then I'll try and do the things I used to, pull-ups and stuff like that, and I couldn't even do a pull-up. I thought, I'm in big trouble here. So I've lost, you know, I'd say 100% strength on my arm. You know, a fully grown man like me can't even do a pull-up. The push-ups are no problem because I still, you know, wasn't engaging the bicep, but I couldn't even do a curl, struggling to curl things like 4 kilos. I thought, you know, I'm in serious trouble here. Eventually, after a year of being on the waiting list, absolute joke by the NHS. Got my surgery on the 29th of November after a lot of fucking about from both the GP and sort of the surgeon side. A lot of fucking about, I promise you that. X-rays, ultrasounds, is your blood pressure high, blah, 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 we might not be able to do it. If anything, just get on and do it, because I am fit enough for this operation. I've had a fair few surgeries myself. I've had my ankle done through football. I've had my wrist done through football. Now I've had my bicep done through boxing. So, I've been there, done that. So nothing's going to change. I'm still fit. So just do it. Just get on with it. All right. Surgery happened 29th. You cannot begin to understand how much shit I went through. They said to me the operation was about 5 to 6 hours. I think it's sort of a benchmark 5.5, somewhere along that region, 5.5 hours, because obviously the complexity of taking it from the hamstring. They were still debating at that point whether to take it from the left or the right hamstring, which I thought was a bit odd. But yeah, they took it from the right hamstring, which might work in my favour because it's my stronger hamstring, it's my stronger leg. So who knows? They took it from there anyways. I got up in a hospital bed, all dazed the stars, so to speak, and yeah, I didn't feel it until I started moving. So I only just moved to get they give you like a biscuit and a coffee after all that shit they do with you during surgery, right? Just went to sort of go and reach for it, and I felt my arm yank, and I felt my hamstring yank. I thought, this it was very demoralising. They didn't tell me until the last minute that they wanted to keep me in overnight to sort of give me sort of pain management, sort of just sort of help me to oversee sort of the rest properly, so to speak. So obviously being in a bed, and the nurses can check up on me every hour or so and stuff like that. Right? Me being stubborn, and obviously I don't like the experience in hospitals anyway. I thought, fuck that. I'm getting out of here. They have no obligation to keep me here. They've just given me the option, but they said it to me last minute, so I didn't like it. Someone come to pick me up. It was a relative. Obviously, I wanted to go with her, so I thought, they said to me before I leave, I have to go to the toilet. So I thought, all right, this is this is going to be a dilemma, but you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm not going to let this body beat me and tell me when I can and can't move, right? So I thought, let's just see what happens. So you can imagine being on the bed, right? And I was just lying there, and they had to get me a wheelchair because I couldn't walk. Literally, I don't know what happened, but just taking a tendon, one of 3 tendons from the hamstring, really messed with my walking, right? And this was just day one, so I couldn't even imagine how the next few weeks would go. But I thought, I'm gonna do this. They just gave me a shot of morphine through it was like a liquid. I didn't even know they did a liquid morphine through the mouth. Not that it helped, because I was in so much agony. I was just trying to find a way. Obviously, people were trying to sort of grab onto me, pull me up, but because there was so much tension, the leg couldn't bend, so to speak. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't get out of bed for 40 minutes. Would you imagine? Couldn't get out of bed for 40 minutes, and people were sitting there going, what the fuck's this guy doing? Why is he being so stubborn? But I ploughed on, right? I thought, the only way I'm going to do this is just to be able to sort of smartly sort of come up with a way of doing it. So all I did was, it was difficult because I had to get out on the left side of the bed. And obviously my arm is on the left, the one that's been operated on. So I had to sort of roll this way and just sort of try and get out with the leg that wasn't operated on, which was my left leg. So I did that, and then Tell you, man, it was agony. I just had to hold on for dear life for people. I was crying my eyes out. So much pain all I could feel was this knotting sensation. Where they done, how they done the hamstring. They did it through keyhole. So right now, there's just like a massive incision and a lot of numbness around the knee joint. So they done it through keyhole and obviously taken the tendon from the back of my leg. Clever. It's amazing how they do it. And then obviously they've just put it into my bicep from. I think they've done it from the sort of middle of the forearm, obviously the size of the tendon, and obviously gone right into where that gap is, for it to create that space. Now, eventually got in the wheelchair, and they said to me, "You've got to at least go for, you got to at least go for a pee before you go." So I thought, okay, a little bit. I had a little bit of an urge to go to the toilet, even though I was still numb from the surgery. So I was getting so frustrated. I was getting so angry with the nurses. They were sort of fucking about with my wheelchair. They didn't put it in the right angle. But if anything, I have to do this. I have to get out of that chair. I'm not going to let, you know, I'm not going to let a tendon beat me. You know, I know what I'm capable of in life, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it my mission to get off that wheelchair, pull my trousers down myself, and actually go to the toilet. So that's what I did. Eventually, after another, I think it was 25 minutes, there's sort of a handrail. So I just had to hold on to that for dear life with my right hand. Luckily, which is my dominant side. Did that, but it was a case of just sort of squatting to get up. Yeah, I think someone just held on to me from the right side, but I still had to have the strength to sort of do like if you can think of like a partial single legged squat with the left. So I've done that. Peeing time, I was so numb. Took a few minutes as well. So I think I didn't get out after from them begging me to stay at night time. So they told me to stay in from, I think it was like 7 o'clock. Did get home until about 1 in the morning, I believe. So this is what happened, and um, they wouldn't even give me a crutch. This is how disgusting the healthcare service of the UK is. They wouldn't even give me a crutch. They wouldn't even let me have that wheelchair. So I had to hobble out, obviously under the guidance of someone else in the wheelchair, and then they took it off me. I just walked. I had to hold on to my family for dear life. Felt vulnerable as fuck. I had to get into this 4x4 car, and I kid you not, it's one of the worst experiences of my life. Just crying my eyes out. I just felt very emotional, and I just felt like an old man in a young man's body, to be honest. Just felt sorry for myself. Didn't know what to do. Did I make the right decision to stay in? To go home and rest up my way. Should I have just listened to them? But thought I'm here now. I'm going to make the most of this. I'm going to be committed to my personal health care. So eventually getting into the back of the car, I had to get in sort of on my back because I couldn't actually bend my knee. So there's sort of like handrails in the car. So if you hold onto that and then just sort of lay back, and then I had to push with my left leg into the car and shuffle in. Again, just a very upsetting experience. Luckily, my house is about 10-15 minutes away from the hospital that I went to, West Mid, in Isleworth, excuse me. Getting out was, again, a struggle. Usually when you have to get out of a car, you have to bend your knee, right? Or you have to bend your leg in general. So doing that was an absolute killer. Luckily, because I've got a relative living in my house that has had surgery before as well, so he had a spare crutch. So what I did, I just used sort of the support from the pavement and just sort of held onto his crutch and sort of, I had to get out with my left side again, to sort of roll a little bit towards out of the car. Getting into the house as well, there's a sort of a little step, you have to bend your knee, but I had to do it. I had to go for a little bit of discomfort just to do it. And yeah, I think the first 2 weeks absolutely killed me. It fucking killed me. You can't imagine. I had to stay downstairs for about a week. I was pissing in a bucket. Yeah, I just felt like this vulnerable, disabled old man, to be honest. I didn't like it whatsoever. It's not me, you know. But it is what it is. Watched the Wilder and Fury fight downstairs, and that was about it. But sort of getting up to actually piss in the bucket was impossible. I had to piss from. I was staying on the sofa at the time. I had to piss from the bucket whilst laying down. So that was a very uncomfortable experience, an unpleasant experience. Sort of getting up for food, sort of the little tasks that you wouldn't believe. The simple things in life: eating, drinking, sleeping. Right? You know, these are simple things in life that you start to learn from the age of, I don't know, 4 or 5. Yeah, as an infant. I couldn't even do any of that. I had to have dinner laying down on the sofa. I had to sleep upright like this. I had to have this. I had to have this on, if you can imagine, a pillow, just to keep it above my heart. I had to have my legs sort of on a little buffet sofa. It's just a very um, uncomfortable experience. I had bad sleep. Um, yeah, I had to sort of rely on a lot of people, and I'm not one to rely on a lot of people. So for that alone, I've got a lot of time. I've got a lot of respect for my family anyway. But if anyone was in that position, I'd do the same for them. So yeah, it's been a very difficult few weeks. But this video is just purely covering sort of the first week or so. So that was the first week. So if you can imagine, I couldn't do fuck all. I had all these stitches on. Obviously, I've had a lot of dressing changes since then. You can't see it now, but I will show you because I'm actually able to take this off and be advised to sort of move it more in a more bent motion. So I'll explain within sort of next videos sort of the progressions I can do with sort of exercises and sort of the things that I've come up with that they don't tell you, and sort of the things that you shouldn't do that they also don't tell you at hospitals. Sort of the mistakes that I've made that you can avoid whilst you're recovering from a distal bicep in particular, or any kind of sports injury, because I think there's a lot of carryover to other injuries as well. So, this is the first week 1. I'm going to talk to you about week 2, and yeah, I hope to see you there in a bit.